Your first grant that you ever wrote was $1 million grant and then it was awarded?
Yes.
It's insane.
Haven't had to do any advertising. Clients find me. I've now done 3 multi-million-dollar grants, being afraid of growth and of success because you solve some problems and then you grow and there's other problems. It makes me nervous. But what if I can't handle whatever larger problem comes down the road?
A year and a half ago, we asked Liz to dream big. Uncomfortably, she put a bungalow house from her Chicago neighborhood on her vision board, thinking buying a house is going to be impossible. But I'm going to put it on here anyway, because you never know. And less than a year later, Liz owns her own condo. So what does freedom look like? For Liz, it meant no longer tied to a landlord and to an employer. Her next step, hiring so that she can buy back even more time freedom. Liz provides a beautiful example of how in a few short years, she has built a referral-only sourced business that allows her to build life on her own terms while having significant impact in her community. She is winning multi-million-dollar grants for small faith-inspired or faith-adjacent organizations in Chicago. Meet Liz. Liz, I am so excited to celebrate you today and share all about your journey.
It's great that I've had time to process everything and think about the ways that I've grown on this journey so far.
Pre-collective, what did life look like?
I was working a nonprofit job. I was actually working on the other side of funding. So I was reviewing applications, doing site visits, awarding funds. I was also doing education work, the fundraising work, writing radio PSAs, making advertisements to collect the money, and introduced me to some really cool organizations that were doing systemic justice work. It was great, but I wanted to be able to do more of certain things and less of other things. The church at the time in Chicago was undergoing a really big transition, and I was just looking for a new opportunity. I stumbled into grant writing very accidentally. Did not realize it was a career field. Well, that's not exactly true. In grad school, there was an option to take a grant writing elective, and I did everything I could to get out of it because I was like, that sounds so boring. I would never need that. I'm always going to be on the programming side. And now I laugh because that actually would have been really helpful. Yeah, I just stumbled into the grant thing. Someone down the hallway knew I did something with grants. Someone had found something online and wanted to apply for one. I thought it was a disaster. It was funded at $1 million. That was like my first experience. And I said, wait a second, maybe this could be a thing.
Your first grant that you ever wrote was $1 million grant and then it was awarded?
Yes.
It's insane.
Yeah.
What a great number that you can give. Like, oh yeah, I've won $1 million in funding. Then when you were like, I can do this as a career, you were working in the nonprofit full time. What really motivated I think I could do this freelancing?
So I had quit my full-time job at that point. I went on a trip to Europe and was just going to try to figure things out, and then got sent back because of COVID. And over that summer was when this project came along. And then I had a connection that was like, I bet you could do development. And so they hired me part-time as a development coordinator at a nonprofit. And that's really how I kind of cut my teeth on the grant stuff and really learned from the front lines, like writing, reporting, managing, working with program staff, collecting stories, collecting data, improving processes and systems. Had so many connections from my decade in Chicago that people heard that I was around and just started approaching me. And I had no clear service offering. I was doing a million different things. I was like, sure, I'll help, sure, I'll help, sure, I'll help. And I learned that there are people that do freelance grant writing or that have grant writing consulting businesses. I just started researching, and there are, as you know, 2 or 3 big name training cohort programs. I did some research and then pulled the trigger.
You decided the unicorns were the magical way to go.
Exactly.
It's incredible to me when people in nonprofit world their whole life switch into the business world and actually overcome a lot of the scarcity mindset really quickly, which I think that you have done. Becoming an entrepreneur or suddenly entering a business, was it hard to make that switch?
For the first year or two, I just saw myself as a scrappy little freelance person that was just cobbling together enough to pay my bills and doing this little thing over here and this little thing over here. It was really the collective, and I think entering kind of the mastermind cohort that really made me think of myself as more of a CEO or a founder or an entrepreneur. But that was a really difficult mind shift. People can tell you all the things, people can give you all the advice, and until it actually sinks in, you can't make yourself understand it until you just wake up one day and you're like, oh, oh, I kind of get it now. Now, looking at some of the organizations that I work with, it does help to sort of put a business lens to the work that nonprofits are doing, especially with big institutions. It's like, yes, we are mission focused, but we have to run this like a business or we're not going to be able to sustain our mission.
100%.
Taking some of the learnings that I've developed through this process and coaching executive directors to kind of come to those same realizations has just been a really cool journey.
I love that. Sometimes the nonprofit world doesn't get the same education that the business world does to really focus all of those things that help run an efficient organization, period.
So many nonprofit leaders are just so in the weeds, just trying to keep up with the bare minimum that they don't have that time to step back and plan. And of course, entrepreneurs have that problem too. I've been struggling with that a little bit.
So do you want to talk about actually that challenge right now?
It's hard to take your own advice. I have an assistant / project manager, and every week during our check-in, she's like, so how's that job description coming along? When are we going to hire? Because she's doing a lot. And I'm like, next week. And it's really hard. The work has to get done. It doesn't matter if it's a weekend or a holiday. It has to get submitted by a certain time. Challenging myself to be more efficient, to block off my time, trying to figure out what works so that I can be working on the business instead of in the business.
You're feeling the pain. So the change is coming. You will hire this person and you're going to be super excited about this hiring process. You're in it and you are going to be able to train so well because you're so detail oriented. I have no doubt that the person that you hire will have a really robust training.
Being afraid of growth and of success because you solve some problems and then you grow and there's other problems. Yeah, it makes me nervous. But what if I can't handle whatever larger problem comes down the road? There's no end to this. I do go back and forth. Some days it's like, I'm going to build an empire. And then other days I'm like, you know what? I think I'm okay where I am. I'm making enough. I'm doing enough. I'm feeling okay about it. So there's definitely ups and downs.
For sure. Oh, you painted a beautiful picture of an entrepreneurship journey that I think anyone can relate to is, the problems are always new and different, but the why is worth it. Your empire is well worth building. What are you most proud of in this journey?
I am proud of the fact that I haven't had to do any advertising. Clients find me. I'm proud of the dollar amount that I've been able to help clients win. I've now done 3 multi-million-dollar grants. Some people that work on federal grants are like, oh yeah, we get 15 million every year. But for the size of organizations that I work with, that's pretty good.
It's phenomenal, not pretty good. So the fact that you have done this not only for smaller organizations, but then also have the faith-based angle is even more incredible.
And I got invited a couple weeks ago. One of my clients is a university, and I got invited to guest lecture in a social entrepreneurship class.
Oh my gosh.
It was a dozen kids, but they're all working on different social impact projects based on their lived experiences with injustice in the world. I got to talk about how you fund your idea and really focus on grants. And I think one of the things that I was really looking for was just a lifestyle change. I love traveling, having the flexibility to travel. I'm also not a morning person. Not having to show up awake, ready to go and sit at a desk for 8 hours was a huge benefit. Prior to COVID, when remote work was still not really a thing, I would see all the people running errands in the middle of the day, going to the gym. I want to know what your job is and how you manage this. And now it's me.
And you're like, I'm a grant writer, everyone. I'm a grant writer.
And also just to be able to be there for my family. And I got to buy a condo.
Yes, you bought a condo.
In some cases I'm a planner, but I'm not here's my 5-year plan. Here's my 10-year plan. I don't really do that. I've always been, let's see what happens next. Let's see where this takes me. I tend to go in with lower expectations so that I can't be disappointed. These little bungalow houses that were in my neighborhood, I was like, I want to buy one of these. These start at $900,000. There's no way. Last winter, found a much smaller, much more affordable little 700 square foot condo to have a space that's mine, recognize that I have created this life for myself and that I don't depend on anyone else. I have built this on my terms and in a way that I can be independent and self-reliant and also use that to support causes that I care about and impact others. It's been a really big year for me.
There's an aspect to the home ownership that just is so beautiful. It just feels like icing on cake. We can talk about making good money all the time, but then to sit in the money you've made that has earned you the thing that you've wanted is a totally different experience. So I just love that.
And it was something I was like, that's never going to be possible. Nobody my age can afford homes. We're eating too much avocado toast. The mortgage rates are so high. All of this narrative that we hear. I was just like, I'm just going to rent forever. And that's okay. This is not the same world that my parents grew up in. They, at my age, had multiple houses, had 3 kids. I think that that's also what this experience has taught me. I have a tendency to think that we're behind other people because our path is different. And this has taught me that like there's beauty in sort of taking that unexpected path.
I struggle with the I'm behind too. Letting go of that is so powerful. I agree. The collective is a constant reminder, specifically how women reinvent themselves at so many different ages and how inspiring really that is to be surrounded by women who are looking at themselves and saying, what do I want out of life?
So many inspiring people too that I met in the collective. Just meeting these other people from so many different walks of life who, for some of them, it's like a third or fourth, right? Career change. People that like raise their kids off the grid in Alaska, people that had these high powered different types of careers, to people that are just stumbling into this because they were a volunteer for an organization they really care about. It's truly incredible the amount of people out there that are searching for the same thing and being able to find it in the collective.
Tell us a little bit about the work that you're working on.
I don't have a favorite child. One of my most life-giving clients
Yes,
is a
I love that.
university where I work, and I work with their Division of Mission and Ministry, working directly with immigrant youth in a high school setting around like community service and social justice. It's a Hispanic serving institution. We really look at how to center the cultures and traditions of these students in everything that's done, kind of flipping the script to put them in positions with agency when they may have come from communities where they're typically getting served. And it's just so incredible to be part of a team that's just so visionary and so committed. And then I have a new client that I have been working with since the summer, that's a center for refugees. So they do education, they do ESL for refugee women and kids. And it's just really inspiring to see all of those people kind of starting over. Like it terrifies me, that idea of having to start over. I get so much joy from working with my clients.
What I love about working in this space is it is a constant reminder that everyone around us is doing really hard things in life. The amount of uncomfortable things that people do to better their lives is incredible, and being able to support that has to feel pretty magical.
I feel like I don't necessarily have the right skills to be sitting a struggling college student and hold that space in a way is comforting to them, but I can help behind the scenes. I can make sure that we have the money to hire people who can do that.
You're right. We get to sit here and support the organizations and doing their work really, really well.
I've had clients that say, we're not going to take money from X, Y, or Z. Our core values don't align. We don't know where the money that they're giving out is coming from, or dealing with like typical philanthropy, which is sort of like a white savior thing. On the one hand, do we just say, no, we're just choosing not to affiliate. We're going to find funding somewhere else. Or as someone with privilege who might be better equipped to navigate those spaces, can I go in and be an advocate? Because I believe that a community deserves those funds that have typically been really difficult for them to access. There's some interesting kind of moral dilemmas because philanthropy is all a power struggle.
So well articulated. Okay, some rapid fire question. What is one word to describe your dream lifestyle?
Mobile.
Favorite podcast?
This American Life.
What are you reading right now?
Just finished Kingdom of Ash.
Last TV show you binged?
Nobody wants this.
What's your superpower?
Making people laugh.
Next vacation spot?
Mexico City. I'm working on a remote work week.
Or no work. That'll be my challenge for you.
Yes, but I joined this network of like co-working, co-living spaces. And so they have houses all over the world. And so they're set up for remote work. And so you can do a little work, you can go explore.
We are so insanely proud of the impact that you've had in Chicago alone, but really the impact you've had on your own life and the lives of other people in the collective because of the work that you've done to achieve your dreams. So thank you so much for continuing to inspire us.
Couldn't have done it without you.